as men and as contractors, like we tend to think that we can figure everything out. We tend to think that we know everything. Um, I never knew how much I needed that community before I joined a mastermind. Never knew it. Since kind of joining that mastermind and admitting that I didn't know everything, um, my business has grown exponentially and it continues to.
Welcome to the Real Construction Owners Podcast, where we interview real construction owners doing big things to teach you how to go from being a stressed out operator to an owner who can thrive in abundance and have a business that thrives without you. Today, we have JP Wilson out of Ohio, the owner of Patriot Construction Group. He's got an epic story, how he's built a roofing company to several $1 million a year this year, a pool company that also does several $1 million a year, and fire restoration in that wheelhouse. So you're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned so you can learn some good nuggets. What's up, JP? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Man, I'm truly blessed and I'm highly favored. Thanks for asking. What's good? Are you in a work zone right now? Where are you at?
I am, man. I'm back and forth, man. We're doing a fire restoration on this house. And my project manager was like, man, I just need some help. I need some help. So I left the office. I actually have my COO in the back over there working too. We left the office today, got a little dirty. So we just happened to catch this call we thought we'd be back, but you know how it goes when you start doing work.
Amen, man. It's beautiful to see an owner of a company getting in the field, getting his hands dirty, showing his people that he's not some ivory tower guy. Like, I love to see that. That's the first takeaway, contractors. Do what he's doing. By the way, if you're new to the podcast or the YouTube channel, in the comments below, say where you're coming from and let us know what type of construction you do. So JP, before we dive into the nuggets, the processes, the systems, the culture, I want to talk to you about a story. If you could share with our audience how this all got started. Like, what were you doing before construction? And
Gotcha.
How did you get where you're at today?
Yeah, so I was a firefighter paramedic for the last 17 years, and I went into work every day. I did my job, and I just I continued to see the people that were in charge of me, and I was like, man, I just don't want people to be in charge of me anymore. Like I just felt this desire to be my own boss, and but I was in that security. I mean, I got a paycheck every couple of weeks. I don't know, my wife kept that, but I got a paycheck, and it was real secure. It was real safe. And but I just felt like God wanted more for me. I was a youth pastor also, and in that youth pastor position, I felt like God was kind of calling me out of that too. And so I started a business with a guy in my church, and we started doing small bathrooms and small renovations, and I've been doing it on the side for years. And we grew it a little bigger, and then it got to the point where he said I was growing a little too fast and he couldn't keep up. So he wanted me to buy him out. So I bought him out. We're still really, really good friends. It was for the best because I just have a vision, and I have these dreams of what I want this to be. And not that he was holding me back, but like having a business partner, you have to run everything through each other. Once I got the leash taken off, man, I just set out to do what I wanted to do. And so I cashed out of my retirement from the fire department. I told my wife, I was like, I just want to invest in myself. And she was 100% on board. So took all my retirement. Everybody told me I was crazy. They're like, man, you're so stupid. Don't do it. They're like, the firefighter paramedic retirement is the best thing in the world. And man, I just didn't believe that. I believed more in myself than I believed in that. So I cashed it out and started a business, and I haven't looked back since.
Bro, like, you're a freaking gladiator warrior. Like, if I was in a battle, like, I'd want to be right next to you.
Yeah, I used to fight especially too.
I'm taking notes, seriously.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So you basically bought out your partner. What did that look like? Walk us through the numbers, walk us through the details.
Yeah. So we were freshly in business. I think we had done about $500,000 in business, and and we were kind of climbing a little bit, but we were doing all the work. And in my vision, I didn't want to create a job for myself. I wanted to create a business. And what we had done is we created jobs for ourselves. And he just came to me one day. We were sitting in the office, and it was just him and I. And we had a girl that works for us. She was actually one of my youth members, my youth group, and we call her the OG. Her name's Tabby. She was the original employee from like when I coaxed this up in my kitchen, and I asked her to come work with me. So she was the only one that was there. But we sat down and we had an agreement that if we ever bought each other out, we would do a like an evaluation of the company, see how much it's worth. But we were sitting one day, and I was like, dude, I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, man, I'm just not happy anymore, man. He's like, I can't do this anymore. He was like, I can't keep up with you. He was like, you want to do all this stuff. And he was like, I just can't keep up with you. And so I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And he was like, man, I just need you to buy me out. And so we sat down, we went through some numbers. We came up with a buyout of $52,000, which my accountant said that he would want me to do some deals for him because we were worth more than that. But that's what he felt he wanted. And that's what I kind of wanted to, because him and I were friends. I kind of want to honor, like, make him feel like he got out of it what he needed. And so he allowed me to pay half of it up front and then half of it over the next year. And then I took complete ownership of my business. And my daughter was getting out of the military at that time, and I wanted to be a woman-owned business. I know I don't look like a woman, but I wanted to be a woman-owned, veteran-owned business. My daughter was getting out of the military, so I sat her down and talked to her and told her what my plan was. I gave 40% to my wife. I gave 20% to my daughter, and then I have 40% of the company. And so now we're a veteran-owned, military or woman-owned company.
That's
so
impressive,
we are ripe
man.
for the picking on government contracts, and so.
Dude, I can't wait to help you
Yeah.
through that journey. That's all we do, teach people how to win these contracts, and we have leaders who excel at that. So exciting information. I'm curious. You said evaluation. Did you do any research on doing evaluations? Was there a resource you could share? Because there are contractors who listen to my podcast that may want to sell one day. If so, what would be that resource, or did you just figure it out?
Well, we kind of figured it out. I spoke with my accountant. My accountant gave me a rough evaluation of our company. And then I actually went to my business partner and told him, I was like, hey man, you're selling out for a little too, like, not enough. And he was like, no, that's what I want. So we really didn't go in too deep. Like right now I'm getting ready to buy my other business partner out of the pool company. So we're going through the whole entire process of evaluation and all that right now. I would say that if it's a mutual agreement, I wouldn't get too involved. If it's not a mutual agreement, if it's a kind of a bad breakup, I would make sure that both of you guys have lawyers and allow your lawyers to do the deals. And that's what we're doing right now. It's not that it's in my pool company, it's not a bad breakup. But he's a business guy. I'm a business guy. So we're letting our lawyers kind of hash everything out on that one.
Smart.
It's
Smart.
going to be a little more than it was for the pool company or for the construction company. But I just have these unmatched dreams that I find that it's hard for people to get on board with how big I dream. And I would say before you get in business with somebody, there should be this grooming process. I believe that you should really, really, really understand that if you guys can match each other, if you guys have the same intensity, if you guys have the same desires, if you guys have the same dreams, the same direction, and if not, I wouldn't get in business with somebody.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love these nuggets we're extrapolating. Curious about how you're operating, the people and the processes behind a fire restoration, storm restoration business and a pool business. Is it intertwined? Do you have Like, talk to me about who's in charge of getting service done, who's in charge of operations, billing, collections, who's in charge of recruiting and scaling. How does your process set up?
So our process, we in our roofing business, it's set up a little different than our pool business. But in our roofing business, we have a COO. He does all of our operations, and then he's the guy that kind of keeps me in track. So we went through the whole entire EOS system, the entrepreneur operating system, and then that entrepreneur operating system, we both took the test, the compatibility test, and then we found out we could date. But like we found out that we were compatible. So he's the unicorn where he is a visionary and an integrator. I myself am not an integrator at all. Like I'm a visionary and I have these big dreams, but to actually put it on paper is one of my hardest things. So I knew that I had to find somebody that could pick that slack up. And this guy, he had been in business before. I actually almost bought one of his businesses. And he was selling an archery shop. And he came in and we discussed some pay. We discussed how we'd bring him in and like bonus structure. And we brought him in. He now runs all of our daily operations. We have a Monday morning meeting that all of our sales guys. We have 4 sales guys that are our managers, our sales managers. And then we have a position where they can recruit underneath them and pull their own guys in and then kind of manage their own guys. Because everybody's different. If I take a guy and try to put him on somebody's team and they don't mesh well, it's just not. So we really try to get our guys to recruit their own guys so that they can make their team stronger, so they can make the team that they want to have. And it's worked out really well for us. I mean, it's worked out great because they're pulling in the people that they want to manage and that they think would fit best for them. And we've had guys that have went from not having the confidence to even like go knock on a door to where they have the confidence to manage people now. Our culture is super, super, super important to me in our business.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that in just a second. Culture. Okay. I'm very curious, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you have just dropped so many insights of how a successful organization runs. You mentioned the entrepreneur operating system. Did you read the book Rocket Fuel, or did you take the course somewhere else?
So through Revolt is where like I kind of got hooked up to the operating system, the mastermind I'm in, and and then I've read all the books. Like I just dug in 100% Rocket Fuel and The Grind and How to Be a Good Boss, and like all of his books I've kind of just got into. Some of them are harder to read than others, but like I would really, really, really suggest that if you don't have an operating system in your business, and that's what it was when I first started. Like I was just swatting mosquitoes with a shotgun. I'm like, oh, there's a problem, and it was like nothing was sticking. And then the older guy told me, he said, hey man, he's like, if you got that phone right there and you don't have an operating system in it, he's like, it's not going to function right. And the same thing with your business. If you don't have an operating system in your business, if you're not like, you don't have job descriptions, you don't have like roles, you don't have responsibilities and discipline or structure, then it's just going to be like a bad kid. You can't control it. So we dug into the operating system, and John and I both did. And John is like, he's implemented the 90-minute meeting where we score our meetings. Our meetings are very, very, very structured now. Before they were kind of like, I would bring everybody in. I'm like, what's up guys? Let's go knock on these doors and let's do this. Now we have all of our budgets in there. We have all of our key factors, everything that we need to all of our measurables are divvied out every single week. So we know exactly where we're at every single week. If we're low, we know when we're low. If we're high, we know when we're high. And it's worked out great.
JP, I would love, because I'm in a process right now where I'm trying to find that CEO, COO, or the general manager, somebody who could take over my role. If you could share that with me privately, the structure of that meeting, whatever you just said, because I am trying to find that COO, somebody who can take over me, because I'm the visionary, the guy who just like has 10 ideas a week, and some of them are successful and some of them not. And it sounds like you've figured this out through your personal growth. Kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious about his compensation, how you structured it, bonuses. Like for a contractor who's listening, they're like, man, I need to do this. What are some ideas?
Yeah. So our and we kind of like relied on John too, our for our bonus structure. I mean, he had been in business before. He had a pretty successful business like down in Georgia in manufacturing, and we kind of went to him, man, and we were like, man, let's sit down. Like, we're going to bring you in, but let's how do we want to structure your bonuses? What would make you want to work for those bonuses? So we did a percentage of profit that he would, like, if he retained 10% of profit. Like, so, in the roofing business, we're between 7 and 12%, 13%. If you really got your numbers down, you're at 14% retention of your gross profit. And so we just kind of sat down with him. We're like, hey man, if you help us keep 10% of our profits, you get this much money at the end of the year. If we do 12% of our profit, if we have 12% retention, then you get this much. If we hit that magic 14%, then we're going to profit share this much to you. And it was what he wanted. It was something that he kind of said that he would work towards, and he does, man. He knows every single number that we got. And it's funny when we start, like, when our cogs aren't completely nailed down, or something's not completely nailed down, he's like, that needs to get nailed down because that's money out of my kid's mouth. So he takes a lot of ownership into that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. I love that you have shared that. Thank you for that. So curious, as far as now that you're in the state that you're in, you have these canvassers for your roofing business, and I'm sure you have some way of getting leads for fire inbound leads, and you also have your own method of getting pool leads. What are your strategies for that?
So we're super active on Facebook, and it's so funny. I'll go to a customer's house and they're like, "Oh, we love Scare Thursday." We try to find like something that we could get somebody to look at our website all the time and tell their friends, and like, so we started this Scare Thursday thing. And so if you go to our Facebook page, every Thursday we have this scare, and it just draws people in. But beside that, we do an SEO program, and we have a pretty really. I mean, the guy's amazing in SEO. His actually title is SEO Not for Hire. We just happened to get in with him because my business partner in the pool company knows him, and he took us on as a client. But how we in is good old fashioned door knocking. We send guys out and we pound the pavement. I mean, I know that there's better ways, but we get from that door knocking, like, I just impart on my guys so much, like how when they carry themselves, they're really selling themselves. And when they do, these guys, I mean, there's been weeks and weeks and weeks where they haven't door knocked because they're just working off referrals from their customers. And I would say probably 50% of their leads are from referrals. Now that our SEO is working, we're getting more calls. We're getting more website visits, more Google visits, and all that stuff. But when we first started, I mean, I did $3.4 million off of knocking on doors.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a killed it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. So thanks for sharing some of your strategies for generating revenue through leads, how you do that. Curious about, you mentioned your culture is strong. Like, yes. What are strategies you're implementing to build a strong culture within your management group and within your sales manager or salesman group?
Yeah. So I've always had morals. We all have morals and all this stuff. And I really have these like points that I stood by. And when I first started the business, I would allow anybody to come in. I would hire anybody. Oh, you want to sell for me? Yeah, come on in. I'll give you a T-shirt and we'll show you how to do it. And then I started seeing that I was bringing people in that were destroying like what I had pictured, what I had visioned. And so I got rid of those people. I was just like, man, it's not going to work out for me. So I got rid of those people, and I really sat down after joining Revolt and getting with Hunter and doing some different things. He was just like, man, you have to hire and fire off of your core values. You have to. And so like I didn't know what my core values actually were on paper. I mean, I knew what my values were, but I didn't know what my core values were. So I spent a couple of weeks just really digging into those core values. And those core values are posted on a wall as soon as you walk in. And I tell people that, one of our first core values is faith. That you don't have to be a Christian to work in my company, but you're not going to come in, you're not going to cuss in the office, you're not going to talk about, treating people bad or any of that other stuff. There's just certain ways that we carry ourselves when we're together. Like when you're out knocking on doors and you have a t-shirt that has my name on it, customers better not hear you cuss. Customers better not hear you arguing or anything like that. Because if that's not conducive to our core values, then I don't keep people around, because we hire and fire off our core values. We are very, very, very direct. When we bring people in, the first thing I do is I hand them a sheet of our core values. I'm like, read over those. If you have any issues with those, we'll just see you later. And people are like, no. I'm like, all right. I'm like, so if you're signing on, you have to let me know if you have any issues with these values. Because we have a set of core values for the company, then we have a set of team values for our sales guys that actually like run as a team. And we are very, very, like I told John, because John's a little more hard nosed than I am. But I told John, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, if I ever like have any conflict with you, man, like it's because of our culture, because John, if people aren't producing, John's like, let's get rid of them. And I'm like, no, let's just wait. let's give them one more chance and stuff like that. But yeah, we are very, very, very protective of our culture. We do a retreat every year where we take everybody. Like this year is in February. We're going to North Lake, and we take families down. We take kids down. We take, the sales guys and everybody in our office, everybody that works for us. We take them down, and we just, we pay for the entire weekend. We pour into them. We do trainings. We work out together. We have like, fireside stuff together, but we spend the whole weekend intentionally developing our team.
Wow, bro, sounds like a servant leader right here. That's really good. What are your other core values?
Our core values are faith, honesty, integrity, and those are our three values. And I know that they seem generic, but they're really, really not generic. We wrote out what they mean to us, how that we implement them in our business, and then they take away that genericness, that whole like, oh yeah, well, that's everybody's core values, like where we stand behind those values. Like to give you a little instance, I opened an office in New Orleans after Hurricane Ida, and we were down there. My niece and nephew were running the office. They decided they wanted to do something else. I had nobody to run the office, so I had to shut it down. We had a guy call a couple months ago, and he's like, hey man, I got a leak in my roof that you guys did. He's like, I know you guys aren't in Louisiana anymore. He's like, so what are we going to do about this? So we contacted businesses in Louisiana, and we actually were on the phone yesterday with a business in Louisiana to fix this guy's roof, just because I stand behind everything that I say. I stand behind.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. So when a new salesperson comes in, every owner is a little different. How are they compensated within your company?
Okay.
What is their training process, and what is their comp plan?
Yeah. We actually just got finished with our training process. We do a teachable platform. So when they come in, we do everything from a welcome. Like our family has a little video on there, like, hey, this is our family. This is how we do things here. This is our core values. And then the next video is going to be like some of our processes. So they sit down and they get to watch these videos. There's test questions with the videos. There's trainings with the videos. There's a lot of revolt stuff in there with the videos. And then when they're brought in and they make it through the entire like video, then they have like another interview to see if they want to, if this is what they want to do. But during that process, we pay them for every 2 weeks, we pay them $2,000. And then that $2,000, like the second $2,000 is taken out of their commissions, their first 5 commissions, because they're 1099, they're commission based. So we do a 1099 commission based, and we pay 35% after they finish the training. And I always tell people, man, the less I have to talk to you, the more I'll pay you. So if I'm answering questions all day long and these guys are blowing up my phone, they're blowing up John's phone, and we're going back over problems, they stay right around 30%. And then once they're not, like, we don't have to kind of babysit them and they're on their own, then we move them up to 35% commission.
Love that. Love that. So basically they come in and they get, guaranteed a base pay of 2,000, but it's a draw towards their future commission. Curious with that, what are their KPIs? Like, how are you protecting your dollars to make sure that that person is not just going to come in and squander and take the money?
Yeah, so we've never had that issue, and I understand there could be that issue where they come in and they get the training pay and they bounce. We've never had that issue yet, and I believe it's because of my culture, because people want to be there, and then we hook them up with the guys. The guys kind of like teach them and show them, so they're pretty invested. Like, I was talking to Hunter. Hunter, do you know Hunter from Revolt?
Hunter Revolt.
Yeah. So I was talking to Hunter, and Hunter, he was just kind of, he's like, man, he's like, you just have to have these guys that believe in your story. They have to believe in in everything you do. He was like, but what he kind of gave me a good nugget was, he said, make them do the training 100% before they even, I don't know if he's died. So he said, make them do the training 100% before they even come on board. So they get the training. They have 5 days to complete. They go through our whole entire teachable platform. And then once they get through that, then we bring them in to actually train them. So they're kind of invested a little bit on their own before they even come in.
That is brilliant. That's the first time I heard it like that. They actually go through your teachable platform first, and then if they go through that, then they're real, they're serious, and they're going to stick.
Yeah.
Then they actually go through the in-person, person-to-person, belly-to-belly training. So you've mentioned Revolt. It's a mastermind for legacy-based contractors who are growth-minded, who want to excel spiritually, physically, emotionally. And it's a phenomenal resource to help individuals do so. What would you say is your biggest takeaway from, or your biggest takeaways, not to mention the teachable thing, because that's a huge takeaway that you learned from there.
Yeah.
Takeaways that you learned from joining this mastermind?
The community has been amazing. Anytime that I need something out of this community, like I was going to do like our first commercial contract, and I'm like, man, I don't have commercial contracts. Man, 5 guys hit me up. They're like, hey man, give me your email address. I'll send you commercial contracts right now. They're like, I'll send them so that you can edit them, so you can do whatever. Send them to me, like these massive, just beautifully written commercial contracts that work just perfect for me. And then the community. I mean, I keep saying community because, man, it has been, before I joined Revolt, it is a brotherhood. Like before I joined Revolt, I felt like I was kind of doing this all on my own. And then I joined Revolt. I was real hesitant. My wife was like, well, they're going to try to sell you something. And I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And then I actually joined. What's that? Yeah.
Of course they're going to sell you something. You gotta pay to pay attention.
Yeah, 100%. Well, like I paid, and like I tell Hunter all the time, I feel like I robbed you, dude. I'm like, I would have paid what I've got out of Revolt. I would have paid 5 times as much for. If I knew what I was going to get out, if I knew like the value it would bring to our company, if I knew the structure it would bring to our company, I would have paid 5 times as much as I paid to be in that group. And like I said, since we've been on this chat, or since we've been on this call, like I think 5 or 6 different like chats have popped up from Revolt where guys are asking questions about the hurricane going on, and like, I mean, we have guys that are like, I had 3 or 4 guys calling me, JP, you sending your guys down to my shops, man? He's like, if you send your guys down, I'll pay them. And it's just the community. The community is what has like really made me thrive, because I'm able to ask a question anytime I want, and I get an answer right now, not just from Hunter or not from anybody else in Revolt, but from the guys. I have a guy, Dan Riccomini, out in Kansas. I wanted to do coatings, and he sends his guys from Kansas that do my coatings. And it's just a it's an amazing thing, man. I can't speak more highly about that than
That's beautiful, man. Masterminds, that's what they're about. You get a collective consciousness of greatness, and you get to surround yourself with that. And that impact changes your thoughts. And from when you change your thoughts, you're able to increase and grow and build even more. So
yeah.
thanks for giving the Revolt the credit that they're due. Now, best success secret to growing your business. What would you say yours is?
Man, I used to think it was all these big things. I would say to grow a business, the hugest like secret I can give you is to write every single step of your business down. If you were going to hire for a position, the guy that takes out the trash, I would put a job title on it, put a job description, and explain to that guy exactly how he's going to take out the trash for you, how you want him to take out the trash. And then have that guy read it. And the reason I say that, man, is I had this yesterday when our pool company, I had two guys that I have 19 more pools to put in this year. And I wanted some guys to go around and just plumb the pools. They've plumbed pools for me. They've plumbed, 13 of them this year. So I thought they knew how to plumb a pool. I sent them out, and then my installers are like, hey, these guys didn't put any lights in these pools. Every single pool that we put in, we put lights in. Every single pool. Every single pool, we put a skimmer in. But because I told these guys, I just want you to go plumb the pools, the only thing they put in was the plumbing. They didn't put any lights in, and they didn't put any skimmers in. And this was just yesterday, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went home last night and wrote down, this is exactly what I expect of you guys. So there won't be any miscommunication. There won't be any frustration. There won't be any gray area. Like, this is exactly what I want from you guys. This is what I'm paying you for, and this is what I expect. And man, I just think, like, if I would have sat down while I was at the firehouse before I quit and wrote down every job description that I've ever thought could be possible in my business, I mean, I should have thought about everything. And that's what I would say. I would say, sit down with a piece of paper and write every job position that you ever think that you're going to have. And then start looking on the internet, start looking, to other people, look for people in Revolt. Like, hey, how do you guys describe this job? What are the SOPs for your company? What are the SOPs for, you guys doing business? That, I think, would take somebody from here and just shoot them way over the top.
That's really a great success secret to help a contractor grow their business and find key individuals to run different job descriptions so we can become the owner and not the operator. So,
right. So
earlier you were talking,
job, not in.
Yeah, earlier we were talking about the different processes and people. You mentioned the COO, you mentioned yourself, you mentioned your sales managers. Is there any other people within this entity that are helping make it come true?
Yeah. So my wife does all of our finances, because I would go buy a helicopter tomorrow. She's the only one that can tell me no. I mean, I think a helicopter for looking at roofing, I think that's amazing. We should do that.
It's a no-brainer.
Right. But she's the one that says, no. And then I have John, our COO, where he's the one where I'm like, hey, dude, we should get a helicopter. He's like, dude, I hear you. Let's figure out how to get there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then John will put a plan together. How do we get in the helicopter? So he's very, 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 like crucial in there. Then we have our office manager, which is Tabby. She does all of our ordering, our scheduling. She controls the crews. She actually does project management. She's managing this project right now that we're in. She's the one that sends everybody out. She's the one that gets all the material there and all that stuff. She wears a ton of hats in our thing. She probably wears more hats than she should, and I probably should hire more people to help her out. And that's what I've got over the years too. Like, don't be afraid to hire people. Like, if you think it's one job, and if you and I think it's one job as the owner, it's probably three jobs. I'll do three jobs. I'll come here and I'll do this, and I'll run across town, do a pool and all this other stuff. But if normal people that we hire for a job, it's three jobs. And we should separate that. And then we have our sales guys. So we have sales managers. We call them like our territory managers, because we try to break it up in our four
East,
southeast,
south,
west.
west.
We try to
Yeah.
break them up in there. Yeah, man, I was all over. We try to break them up in that, and then we have our sales guys underneath that. Um, what I would love to hire for, like, is a position that we haven't been very successful in keeping, is a running position, like a guy that just runs materials to jobs that are needed, runs different things out, takes material back to ABC or Willoughby or wherever we got material from. A guy that just runs around and does nothing but he just gets in a van and runs things everywhere. And we haven't been able, like, every time we get that person, they see how much money the sales guys are making and they want to switch to a sales guy, or they find something else. So we that runner position is key. In our full company, we have a sales team, we have a project manager, then we have our sales manager that manages our sales teams. We have a girl that just does our permits. She does all of our permits and drawings and stuff like that. We have a designer, have our install crews.
That's awesome, bro. Thanks for breaking it down like that. That's, you just shared your whole kingdom. Thank you for doing so. So what's an investment that you've made that surprised you? Can be yourself, real estate, can be something you bought for your company. What is an investment you made that surprised you?
COO, John, like actually hiring somebody that will take my ideas and turn them into fruition. Like, that allowed me to, like, not work in the company, but allowed me to work on the company. Like, I knew it would help, but giving him freedom in that and, like, trusting, like, his decisions, like that investment is, I mean, tenfold. If I only came in on Mondays, I would have all the information I needed for my company on Monday mornings. And then I can know that, like, I can work on my pool company and that everything is being handled. So that investment, man, was just, man, it is paid off. Like, cause I mean, time is the one thing that we're never getting back. Like, once a minute's gone, a minute is gone. We only get so much. And like, actually hiring somebody for that position to like do the things that I thought I could do, has freed up so much time for me. So that monetary investment has bought me time, which is amazing.
Yeah. What's your role in your company?
What's my role?
Yeah.
Just kind of run around. So I don't really have a role anymore. I get in the roofing company. I guess I'm still, like, I am. People would like to say that I'm in charge of the culture. I'm the culture ambassador. So,
Nice.
I'm the goofy dude that, like, scares everybody. But when stuff needs done, like, I don't even have an office at my company anymore. Like, I don't have a desk.
Wow.
Everybody has a desk. Everybody has a computer. Like, I actually just bought 2 more computers this week for people, and there's a desk that's showing up today for somebody else, but I don't have a desk. So, like, whenever I need to do something, somebody jumps up, I jump on the computer real quick. Everybody's like, "Why don't you have a desk?" I'm like, I'm just over here, and it allows me to kind of, like, go help the guys out. It doesn't tie me to that desk. And like this, like, I'm out here working, and it just allows me to, everybody knows that they don't have to come stand at my door to get my attention. So
yeah. I love that, man. You're like the grandpa who gets to show up and just pat people on the back. And
yeah, 100%. You're doing so good. You want to go to lunch? That's what I told everybody. I'm like, man, I go and I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry John is, on you about doing your quota. Like, man, I'm sorry John's so mean. Do you want to go get some lunch, buddy? And I become everybody's favorite.
Good cop, bad cop. Love it. Love it. So what's the last book you've read that from cover to cover that's been a game changer to you?
The Extreme Ownership.
Oh man, so good, Jocko Willett.
Yeah. It just, like, it was one of those books that just kind of, like, I understand, like, everything that happens, whether John is in the CEO, whether my wife is in charge of finances, whether Tabby's in charge of ordering, everything that happens that goes wrong is my fault. Like, I look at it like, if Tabby doesn't order something right, then I should have trained her better. It's my fault. I'll deal with it. I'll take the flack for it. If my wife pay somebody that shouldn't have been paid, or pay somebody that's wrong, then like I should have been the one that, had a process that was better for her to know, like who to pay, who not to pay. If John messes up at his job, like I should have had a process that was better. So extreme ownership really hit home with me because I'm an extreme owner. Like I understand, and that's what I tell my subs. They're like, well, I just blah 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 and this. I'm like, no, hold on. Like you're a sub, you own the company, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, then whatever he messed up is your fault. I don't go talk to that guy. I talk to you. I talk to you. You're the owner. I'm the owner. You're the owner. Everything's your fault. And he's just like, what? Like it's all your fault. Whenever I have a sub and they mess something up, they didn't mess it up. Patriot Construction messed it up. That's what the homeowner's going to say. Patriot messed up my roof, not the sub. So it's my job to make sure that they do their job. So that book really.
That's a great book, and you're living proof, like that. No matter what happens, you're the extreme owner, and that's what we men have to be in life, and family, and business to crush it at whatever it is we're trying to achieve. JP, today we've discussed incredible things. We've discussed, how you have grown your business, how you joined the Revolt Mastermind. We've discussed your culture. We've discussed how you built multiple construction within one house. And this has been a blast. I appreciate you dropping bombs on the Real Construction Owners podcast. Before you go, if you were to tell our contractors who are looking to grow their business one last thing, what would it be and how they can become better and, grow as individuals or grow their company?
Yeah. So as men and as contractors, like we tend to think that we can figure everything out. We tend to think that we know everything. I never knew how much I needed that community before I joined a mastermind. Never knew it. Since kind of joining that mastermind and admitting that I didn't know everything, my business has grown exponentially, and it continues to just climb because I have so many people to fall back on. There's so many times in business that we think that if we don't do it all ourselves, then we're not going to get credit for it. We're not going to be, like the owner or whatever. But man, I would encourage everybody to read books. I'm not a reader. Like I listen to Audible, but I'm too busy, too scatterbrained, but I can listen to Audible all the time. But I listen to books daily. But also find that community, like the people that Revolt's thing. And if it's not Revolt, if it's something else, but find that community. Revolt's thing, their whole thing is like, we've done this before, so why not lean on us? And when I kind of like swallowed my pride and was like, yeah, I need some help. And I let those guys like pour into me, and like, dude, it has been night and day since that happened. I mean, since like this, like I'm gonna get off the phone and I'm gonna call you right back, like, hey man, what's up with solar? Because about solar, and I could trudge around and I could like look on the internet and I can try to figure out government contracts. But if you just give me that information, or you don't even give me, if you sell me the information or you provide that information, at some point, like I will save probably a year of research and probably do it better because you've done it before. Like
Amen.
Hook up with the guys that have done it before. Hook up with the guys that know what they're doing and listen to them. Put your pride aside and listen to them. And the other thing is, don't create a job for yourself, create a business. If a general is down on the ground and he's shooting an M16, something has went wrong because there's nobody that's overseeing the moving parts of that battle. And that's what you are. As a business owner, you're the guy that's supposed to sit back and see the moving parts of your business. If you're down on the ground and you're shooting an M16, the battle's done. There's nobody to control it, and that's how your business will be. Nobody's going to control it. So,
boom, boom, boom. 3 bombs after another, dude. Thank you so much, JP. Crush your day, man, and let's connect again in the near future.
Awesome, man.